Flames of War started when Pete Siminovich, the owner of the company, came to me at a convention in, Easter 2000. And I was demonstrating Warhammer Panzer Battles, which was a mod of 40k that I'd done and put on the internet. And Pete came and had a game and then said, "I'd like you to write a game for us."
I guess Peter had a vision. I mean, I was unaware of any of this when we first started. Very quickly became aware of what was going on, and it seemed really exciting. I started out making stuff part-time for the previous company to Battlefront, and I think it was more like a trial to see whether I worked out or my face fitted or what have you before I actually came on board full-time. I spent a couple of years making tanks and toy soldiers for them, and then after that we said come on board full-time, and who wouldn't want to do their hobby all day?
But a friend of mine, Dallas, was into these new 15mm Flames of War, Battlefront models at the time, and I said, "Oh, write me a game for these." And I was like, I had a 20mm plastic collection, quite a significant one, and like, yeah, no, I'm busy with what I'm doing. And then when Pete said it, wanting Battlefront stuff, it was like, cool. First thing I did was went around to Dallas's place. We got out the models, and we just started and said, okay, how does this work? Let's start with shooting ranges. We put a T-34 here, a Tiger here, and said, that looks about the range a Tiger should be able to shoot. The T-34 should be able to shoot about that far. Movement. Well, if a T-34 moves about this far, it'll take about, that's about the right amount of time to get onto the flank of a Tiger. And then we've got some infantry figures in. So infantry, that's a bit short, about there. And that should be about, that's about right. And so that evening we'd roughed out the basic dimensions of Flames of War. The next thing after that was putting some theoretical background behind it and actually writing some rules that created what we'd designed as a game. But I think it was about a day later, the rules were 2 pages long, and after talking with Pete, they went up on the internet, and a few days later they were 10 pages long, and a few years later they were a couple of 100 pages long.
Over time, the Flames of War has evolved from the original idea. It hasn't changed a great deal, but it's certainly evolved into a far more sophisticated game system and product.
Everyone wanted me to ask you if you actually make the tanks taller to fit the infantry.
No, that's many years ago, probably about 2 or 3 years into this design, into the design of Flames of War. Someone asked one of the managers at the time, and I said, "Do you make them taller?" And he asked me that question because he had no idea. What I actually said to him was, I try to get to the right height, but if I'm going to make a mistake, I'd rather go over than under. And he translated that as we go over. And then obviously the people picked up on that and says, "Oh, that's because the figures are on bases and you made them taller to suit the figures on bases." Don't do that. That's just...
That's an interesting rumor to have.
That's just a rumor that's just gone around the interwebs since... That's up there with Phil works with GW. Used to work for GW, that's common as well.
The closest I've ever got to working for GW is I actually had a contract to do Warhammer Panzer Battles as a book for Warhammer Historical. I have never played a game of 40k in my life, and I think I've played 3 or 4 games of fantasy, one of which I had a giant along with about 6 other giants charging across a very long table trying to get at a bunch of Empire people. All of them were multiplayer games, so don't really have a GW background at all.